I never imagined a simple joke could flip my whole world upside down. But that night in our quiet living room, that's exactly what happened. I tossed out a harmless comment, not thinking anything of it, unaware it would be the final push that exposed something my wife had been trying desperately to keep hidden. Laura had always been sharp, funny, and full of this bright energy that could light up any space she walked into. That spark was one of the reasons I fell for her in the first place. I loved that about her. I trusted that about her. Or at least I thought I did. For years, our marriage felt steady and real, built on shared plans, late-night talks, and peaceful mornings. I worked long hours managing a construction firm, juggling tough deadlines and stressful projects. Laura ran her event planning business with the same confidence and grace that always impressed me. We balanced each other well, my calm, grounded nature paired with her bold, fast-paced spirit. Life was busy, but we made it work. Still, small changes started creeping in. Missed calls, quick glances at her phone, whispered texts when she thought I wasn't nearby. At first, I brushed them off as stress or everyday distractions. But little by little, those tiny red flags stacked up, forming something I couldn't ignore. Something was wrong. Something was being kept from me. It all snapped into focus that night at dinner. We were joking around, talking about nothing serious, when I casually mentioned Mark, a guy who had popped up here and there in her stories. Always a bit too eager, a bit too present. Careful, Laura, I said with a grin. Don't let Mark hear you say that, or he'll think he's the main character. I expected a laugh. Maybe an eye roll. Instead, she froze. Just stopped. Fork in midair, eyes wide, pupils blown with panic. The confident, charming woman I knew so well suddenly looked small and caught off guard. Like someone who'd been exposed. In that split second, everything clicked. She knew I knew. And in that moment, everything between us shifted. I didn't yell or demand answers. I let the silence speak. Let her feel the weight of what she'd just revealed without saying a word. That joke, that harmless little test, had cracked open the truth. Our marriage was still standing, but something inside it had broken clean through. From then on, the air at home felt different. Laura moved around carefully, almost nervously, avoiding my eyes and guarding her phone like it held her last breath. She spoke in short, clipped lines, but she didn't have to explain anything. I already understood. Her reaction told me more than any confession ever could. After that, I watched quietly, closely. Every text, every call, every shift in her tone became part of a pattern I could finally see clearly. And while most people might explode with anger, I didn't. I was steady. Betrayal demands a clear mind, not a loud one, and my mind had never been clearer. She let another man, Mark, slide into a place in her life he had no right to be. That weekend she planned to meet a client, but I already knew who it really was. And I was ready. I collected everything, messages, photos, timelines, not to confront her yet, but to understand the truth fully. Knowledge is power, and for the first time in a long time, I had the upper hand. The next evening, while she got ready to leave, I mentioned Mark again with the same joking tone. She gasped and shot me a terrified look. That was all I needed. She'd assumed I was clueless. She relied on secrecy. She misjudged me completely. I knew then that the only way to take back control was to reveal everything, but on my terms, not to embarrass her, but to level the ground she tilted. I planned every detail carefully. The timing, the setting, the witnesses. People who had seen us grow. Who had believed in our marriage. Who knew the version of her she wanted the world to see. By the time the moment came, I wasn't emotional or desperate. The tension had built perfectly. The truth was ready to come out. Mark, the man she thought she could hide in the shadows, was about to be pulled into the light. I arranged a small dinner with friends, just casual enough to keep her guard low. She walked in confident, sure her secret would stay secret. She didn't notice me sitting in the corner with every piece of proof laid out, calm and unshaken. Throughout the evening, I dropped small hints, subtle remarks, questions that seemed innocent but were pointed enough to make her flinch. You could feel the room shift as people sensed something was off. Her composure slipped fast. The mask she had worn so easily began to crack. Finally, I addressed it outright. No yelling. No theatrics. I simply showed the messages, the photos, the proof she thought I'd never find. The room went still. Her face drained of color, every excuse choking off before it could form. The charm she once used like armor was gone. She realized the double life she'd been balancing had collapsed. Right in front of everyone. Mark, the backup plan she counted on staying invisible, was exposed for exactly who he was. And standing there, calm and clear-headed, I knew this wasn't about revenge. It was about honesty, boundaries, and taking back the life someone else had tried to twist. In the days that followed, she avoided me completely. The confidence she once wore like a crown had vanished. I, meanwhile, moved forward with intention, keeping my dignity and focus intact. She might have been the one who betrayed us, but I was the one who handled the aftermath with control and clarity. Walking through our home alone for the first time in months, I felt something lift off my chest. The lies were gone. The secrecy was gone. The manipulation was over. Everything was out in the open, and I was still standing. The lesson was sharp and unforgettable. Trust can be broken, but your self-respect doesn't have to break with it. And as I stood in the quiet of my living room, I understood one thing with absolute certainty: my life, my choices, and my self-worth would never again be shaped by someone else's deception.